Good morning. Look, I want to talk to you today about detours in your path and your destiny. And I want you to know that if you find yourself with a detour, it does not mean that you're in the wrong direction, doesn't mean that you're not doing something worthy or something correct. It just means that there's something that you might be needing to learn in this season and on this journey. So stay tuned because we're going to talk about that today in this episode of Morning Inspiration with Friends. Good morning. Hey everyone, it's your girl Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. We are here with another episode, another morning of Morning Inspiration with Friends. So I went to Trader Joe's last night and I got me some ginger shots. So I think I take my ginger shot with you. Ooh, haven't had that in a while. Ooh, Jesus. So good morning. Thank you for everyone that's watching live. For those of you that's watching the replay, please hashtag replay so I know that you was here with me. And for those of you that are brand spanking new, I am your girl Tanisha Shanae. We do this every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Central, right here on YouTube and Facebook. Sometimes Instagram will get alive. But I do this to inspire and to encourage you. And if you are brand new here, you have not hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe and hit that notifications and also hit that like button and drop some comments down below because this is going to be a great conversation today. So today we're going to talk about detours. So yesterday, and sometimes this doesn't happen often where it's like a theme, but sometimes there will be like a theme. So yesterday we spoke about not comparing your journey to anyone else's. Like I want you to get to a space, to a place and owning your journey. I want you to own every aspect of it because it's yours, right? It's yours. It's for you to actually experience. And I think that the more that we embrace our journey, we will be able to accept the directions that we're going. And so the one thing that I do want to encourage is for all of us to embrace the fact that sometimes detours are going to happen, right? And so this morning I was thinking about Joseph from the Bible. And Joseph, he had goals, he had plans, he had all these different things, and he just kept getting hit with detours, right? His brothers turned on him. He was sold into slavery. He was falsely accused. Like he was forgotten. He went through a lot. He had many, many detours. That's what a lot of us are experiencing, are a lot of detours. And so I want to talk to you today about what to do when you are experiencing those detours. Give you some insight. What could be happening, right? A lot of things do tend to happen when we are doing the Lord's work. We're working and walking in our purpose. Things will happen. And so today we're going to talk about when detours happen. What do we do when those moments pop up? Because those are going to happen. And I want us to understand. One, just because you're walking with God does not mean that it's going to be perfect. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want us to understand it is not always going to be a perfect, it's not going to be a straight line. There's going to be twists, there's going to be turns, there's going to be something that's going to always get you kind of like off the mark. And when we look at like scripture like Genesis 50 verse 20, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for my good, right? And we have to look at it that way. Those detours are not against you. It's really meant, and it's going to have a great blessing at the end. And I think I want to have a conversation about the God's success. I've been working on that, but we haven't gotten there. That's going to probably be like um, a full masterclass because God has just been speaking to me about His success through us. I can't even get on that today, right? I just know that when we get there, if this is not on Morning Inspiration, it's going to be a masterclass and it's going to go deep. And yeah, I can't even go there today. All right, so let's talk about this. So the first thing, good morning, Bola. Good morning, good morning. The first thing I want to say is that detours, they feel like delays, but they often carry a lot of purpose, right? So you heard me mention about Joseph. Everything that Joseph went through, it wasn't to delay him to become a leader. It wasn't to delay him from his greatness. That was actually a part of his purpose, right? So you could pray for direction, you can pray for breakthrough, you can pray for all of these different things, and then sometimes you are not given anything, right? And sometimes I feel, at least in my own journey, there are going to be times when God is just going to have you be still, right? And I think because so many people, we lack patience in the physical, it's harder for us to understand that God is also going to require us to have patience in the spiritual, especially when we're walking with Him, right? So you have to sometimes understand that if you are not being given instructions to go forth, that could be for your protection. And I know, we hate the cliche statements. The redirection is for your protection, right? We don't like to hear that, but that is truly the reality. He could be protecting you for something. So think about if you are leaving your house and you can't find something, and you know that you use this every day, say your car keys, right? So many people get frustrated and they don't realize that sometimes God is sending the Holy Spirit to stop you, right? To put forth a delay here because there's something that's about to happen on the highway and you're going to be caught up in that. Or there might be a huge delay, like if you're going to stop and get your Starbucks. And if you was to go at that time, you might see this long list, this long line, and you might start thinking, you know what, this is too much, and you might miss a blessing there. There is some form of protection that God is going to do in that delay. He can also be preparing you. Okay, sometimes we don't want God to prepare us. He might be preparing you for your heart structure. He might be preparing you with the words for you to speak, the things for you to do. There's some form of preparation in that pause, right? A pause doesn't mean that it's stopped. A pause doesn't mean that it's over. It's just a pause. And in that pause, you got to sometimes ask God, okay, God, what am I supposed to learn in this time? Because I know you're pausing me for a reason, right? So we have to get to that space and the place where we start to understand and have that. And then the last thing is that God could also be positioning you. You might just be walking down the street, walking. The blessing could be on Fifth Street, and you're about to walk past Fifth Street, and God might just need to position you. Stop, because the blessing is going to come on Fifth Street. But you're just so adamant to get to 11th Street that God is like, but I need you to take a pause here. And He's not going to say anything to you because guess what? He already gave you the instructions. The instruction was to pause. The instructions was to stop. The instructions, those were the instructions. So now you just have to get into a space. Okay, God, what is next? What should I be doing next? Bola, I see you writing something. So let me just get that idea. Here's a book I read that blessed me. Yes, share this book. Detours, The Unpredictable Path to Your Destiny by everyone. We got to get this book. Bola, text me that book, please. Please, thank you. Okay. So now we have resources, and I'm going to talk about that. I almost talked about that this morning. So that might be Friday's message. Talking about resources. We got to start tapping into resources. Yes, we have the Bible. Absolutely. That should be the first thing that we all are positioning ourselves to go to. But God has ordained and anointed so many people out here to write so many great books to help us in so many struggles that we're having. So I'm going to work on that. Bola, that's going to be a part of that list, as well as the other books that I have that I think would be beneficial to any of us that are on this journey. And we're all at different positions. And some of us might be the first time you're going through it. Sometimes it might be a second time. But no matter what, there's always something out there that can help you to understand or to navigate to go to the next step. Okay. So the next thing that happens when you are experiencing detours, right? And I'm just sharing because now, again, I want y'all to get into this habit of going back to God and saying, okay, God, which one is it for me? Because it could be so many. No one is on the same path. What did we talk about yesterday? We are not on the same path. So you have to understand that. But the one beautiful thing that I appreciate, and this is from my own personal journey, I appreciate it about my own detours has been that it develops your character. Okay. When you know you, okay, and you know that there's certain things that you still need to grow within. And so some of us, while we are waiting, that might be what God could be doing. He might be actually helping you to grow in an area of your life. It could be patience, right? Patience has been one of my biggest problems in my life. It can teach you how to persevere. It could be teaching you how to just deepen your faith. There's so many different things that can happen that's going to help you to develop that to develop this while you are waiting. And when I say to you, between developing and working on my patience to developing and working on my faith, right? You hear me talk a lot about like 2015 through 2018. That was a full season where it developed my faith and my patience. But God's been working on my patience since 2012, since I started this entire walk with Him, because it was something that was keeping me stuck. Okay. And so many times we don't get the next instructions because we haven't passed that test. We have not worked on any of that. When I hear people say, yeah, I don't have patience, but it doesn't matter, but it does matter, right? Oh, I don't, I have anger issues. It don't matter. I'm still a good person, but it does matter. These things might be very, very critical to where God is about to send you, right? We don't know where He's about to send us. Where's the next direction? Where's the next instruction? So if there's something in you that God needs for you to work on, and He's putting you in this waiting season, it might be for you to work on that particular trait that you're having. Because think about love. If you are a very angry person and you're looking for love and you're out here, God may be saying, wait, I can't send this person into your life yet because I need for you to work on your anger. You need to work on, how do you respond? You might need to work on your communication so that you can listen better than you are delivering the message. It could be so many different ways, because the person that could be coming into your life, that person, you get angry one time, that person's out the door, right? You got to remember, other people are on their own journey, and other people have established their own boundaries, their own non-negotiables. And so just because you are a good person, that trait might be the one trait that they're like, nope. And God is like, this is why I was trying to work on you for this, because I didn't want you to miss out on this blessing. And I think that is something that we truly do not like to pay attention to, right? And I always tell people, I know a lot of people that will tell me, but I do great things, but your character. You can do great things and still have poor character, right? We see people in society, they're out here donating to people, but when they speak about people, they're out here speaking negative. They're talking down, right? So this could be a season for you to be quiet and to work on your character, right? That detour is going to be exactly what you need to strengthen that. Okay. Last thing, this is going to be probably a quick one. The last thing that you're going to also work on is you're going to learn how to embrace the detour. That's a hard one. So a person like me, I grew up, and I've been pretty transparent with you guys. I grew up, I was extremely spoiled, right? Although I was raised in a single mother household, I didn't feel like there was times that I had to wait for too many things. It was like, I can voice it. I want this. And some way, somehow, because that's how a child operates, some way, somehow it showed up. So as I grew and I got older and I had to learn, right? Because that's a good way. It's a good and a bad way. I can look at my childhood and say, yeah, being spoiled to that level could be it could be detrimental to you as you are growing, especially when you're walking with God, because it's like, well, I never had to wait before. Why do I have to wait now? And I know God has had to look at me many a times, like if she don't just sit and wait, right? So many times we are resisting this. And what I want us to do is to use that time as a time to reflect. Because if you're not fully sure the direction that you're going to go next, God is not saying anything. You might have pretty good character, right? So that might not be it. But now this might just be a space for you to sit back and reflect on all the things that you have accomplished, the things that you have not completed, that you have not been fully honest with God about, even though God knows you. And so we have to really just look at this as a detour, saying this might be the time for me to get a journal and for me to sit down and to reflect and to ask yourself. So I have a question that you can ask yourself. And if I don't know, Bola, maybe I can write this down. Hold on. What am I meant to learn or give in this space? Right? What am I meant to learn or to give in this space? This is a reflective question that you can ask yourself. Uh, I think, okay, there it is. Perfect. Okay. So you can ask yourself this, right? What am I meant to learn? What am I meant to give in this space? Thank you, Bola. Thank you. I was like, I'm trying to, this is the good part about working on Apple products because I'm like on my iPad with my notes and I can just copy and paste on my MacBook. So I like that. Right? So you want to ask yourself this. What am I meant to learn right now? Because if you're stuck and you're not getting instructions, especially if you've been in communication with God, you've been having conversations with him, you've been talking to him, he's been talking back to you, right? When those types of conversations are happening and you're not receiving any answers, then the best thing to do, don't get frustrated, don't get angry, sit back and reflect. What am I meant to learn? Right? Am I supposed to be doing something? Is there something that I'm supposed to be, doing? Right? Bola's about to hit it on the nail. Bola was told, God said to serve while I wait. Believe it or not, that's actually everyone's answer. Like serving, and Bola, if you have been watching previous episodes, Bola and I, we've been friends for 11 years now. Yeah, it's been 11 years, Bola. I've known you for 11 years, girl. And we talk about serving a lot because honestly, to me, that's what purpose is. Purpose is just serving, but we all do it at different capacities. We're using different gifts and talents in order for us to serve. And so I always say, right, if you are in a space where you don't hear anything, right, and you don't know what to do next, I always try to find a way to do for other people, right? And so I think that's one of the things that Bola and I have in common because we find joy in serving people, right? I don't mind doing, this is serving because I understand that there are people out there that some people need constant communications, right? They need constant ways of reflecting and talking about God and talking about the things of God, and they need those kind of communities. And so this is a way of serving, going out to up here in, well, wherever you are in the country, but coming to Tulsa, we have a really, which I need to get back into doing more because I had enjoyed it. It's called the Tulsa Dream Center, and they serve all the families. They have programs for children, they have programs for young adults, for the seniors, and also for the for adults. They have clothes drives. So for like around Christmas time when I first got here, I went there to wrap Christmas gifts. And then they didn't have enough gifts, so they was like, hey, would you mind helping to sort out the clothes? I absolutely have no problem because I understand. And this is what I decided to do when I first got here because I didn't know what to do, right? I bought a house, then drove 1,300 miles. I got to Tulsa. I'm going to some events. I'm networking. I'm connecting with people in Tulsa remote. But then it was just like, okay, God, I don't really know. You're not giving me any real instructions. I don't know if He was just giving me space to get my bearings here. And so I was just like, let me go find someplace to volunteer. Let me go find someplace to go out there and to serve, and to be of service, because I don't know what else to do. That to me is always going to be um the best way to kill your time, right? While you're in this season, why's my eyes watering? While you're in this season of trying to figure out what's next, right? So don't look at it as a way of, I'm just going to get some brownie points, right? I think that's like the best way of looking at it. You're not going to go wrong unless the only time, remember what I said last week? Last week I said, we have to be careful about when God gives us our assignments. Okay, so we're talking about when you're in a waiting season, God hasn't given you next steps of instructions. The solution that Bola and I are encouraging is to serve, find a way to serve. However, once you get those instructions that God has given you, your next homework assignment, don't skip that assignment and go and do what you want to do, because then you are out of order. I want to make sure that's clear. We're talking about when you're on a path, you are out here, you're going, and then next thing you know, it's like an abrupt stop, and you don't know what to do. This is where we're saying this is how you feel in that time, right? You reflect, you serve, and while you're doing that, you might discover something, right? You might discover something. Bola has God's connected me with others with the servant heart, and we have exactly right. And you don't know, like sometimes, I'm working on something here in Tulsa, because we are finding. Well, I'm observing that there are a lot of adults who don't know how to formulate and create new connections, and so that was one of the things that I had shared, because I'm a community moderator and I'm an ambassador for Tulsa Remote. And I said, for the people that are like, I can't find friends, it's hard for me to meet new people. I'm like, okay, fine. If you don't want to go to the museums to spark up a conversation, I said, but if you go into like volunteer somewhere, unless you are by yourself, like you're just in the room by yourself. But if you are in a space and you're like in fellowship with other people who are helping as well, sorting out the clothes, you start to develop and you start having connections. And then next thing you know, you might meet your next, the person that you might take your morning walks with, or someone that will say, hey, let's go to the farmer's market. Let me show you the one that I like going to. You can meet the love of your life. We don't know, right? And we shouldn't go into this anticipating like, okay, I'm gonna meet my new best friend today, or I'm gonna meet the love of my life today. No, I want you. I want you to go into this with the heart of like, I want to give, but also be open to having conversations with people, and don't shut out those connections. Okay. Last thing Bola said about serving, it develops your character as you meet great people. Exactly what I just said. And so Bola said, no, ask God the place He needs for you to serve, right? He wants you to be in line with God's purpose. Absolutely. Right. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes He may not say anything, right? So then that's why I always say you can find some place that feels right to you. And again, you can volunteer someplace for an hour. Like I know someone who does Meals on Wheels every Saturday or every other Saturday for 1 hour, just delivering meals. And she told me that she actually came across another opportunity because of when she was at the place to pick up the food, because they give them all the food to drop off to the families' homes. And someone was talking about another nonprofit, and she was like, that actually was more interesting to what she was interested in. But she said, has she not at least started, because we all knew Tulsa remote people, 90% of us have never lived in Oklahoma. There are some people that moved away and Tulsa remote, paid them to come back. But for most of us, we don't know any of this. So when you're going into a brand new land, yeah, like, all right, God, where do I go? If you don't hear anything, I would rather you just go to a Meals on Wheels, very, because it's something that we know is necessary. And then you might get the direction, the instructions somewhere else. But just don't sit there and be idle. Don't sit there and be frustrated, right? That's not going to serve you. That's not going to serve any of us. And actually, I do believe that actually delays us further. It delays us, right? Because God is like, you're not listening to me. You're not even talking to me. And I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, about the conversations, the communication. So many people do not, and I hinted at this yesterday and I hinted at it again. I hint at it a lot, where people are just speaking to God. They're talking at him, but they're not listening to what he's saying. You're getting up from the table before, and this is where we're finding ourselves in these problems, because you're not listening to him, or you're not even going back to him and saying, okay, so what's the instructions? So as always, we're ending on a good note. We're in good timing. I love to encourage you to connect with me. You can go to my link tree. It's on all my social medias. You can find it, and then you'll be able to connect with me, learn about my community, learn about my books, my courses, and my blog. And as always, we will be back here tomorrow. Oh, and well, it came up yesterday. In Bola, we talking about t-shirts and stuff. So I'm playing around with a company that I have used before. The only thing is that they do take a little bit of time. So I'm trying to find a place that has a quicker turnaround. But I got some things. I put some prototypes together, and I have some. So I'll be able to show you guys next week. And just to put it out there, next week, Tuesday, I will be traveling. So I will not be live next week, Tuesday. It will be a pre-recorded video. It will not be a throwback video. It will be a pre-recorded video. So it'll be a brand new teaching and everything else, but we would just not be live. And unfortunately, I won't be able to communicate, even checking the comments, but still participate, still join, still comment, ask questions, things of that nature. And you will be able to, we'll be able to still have our conversation, but then I'll be back live that Wednesday once I'm in New York City. Everybody knows how I feel about New York. Okay. But we'll be back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern. And share this video with someone. If you can, if you're watching it on Facebook, if you can share it to your stories, that helps a lot. YouTube, you should be able to share, Bola. I think you should be able to share. I have someone who works on the videos after I finish. So sometimes I ask them not to make it private, but just let me know if you can share it or not. But yeah. So I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. Hope you all have an amazing day on purpose, with purpose. And if anything, I will see you back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a good one. Be well and be blessed.